scroll through this. So as soon as you're ready, Bonnie, Aaron, Max, and Rachel, I just need to know if you can hear me. Just raise your hand. Bonnie and Elijah and Aaron. I just need to know if you are here, if you can hear me. You there, Elijah? Okay, so people are just raising their hands if they can hear me. Okay. Yay. All right, so let's get going. In front of you, first of all, welcome back. This has been the weirdest of the weird. Wow. I had a tutor student that was like way early on, I think December or something. Oh my gosh, China has this, coronavirus and what to do. And I was like, oh, come on, not a big deal, but she had hand sanitizer and all this stuff. And she had all the stats every week. I would talk to her, oh, now there's a confirmed case in Korea. Now there's a confirmed case. And then she started talking about confirmed cases in the United States. And that's when I just stopped for a second. And then we had 15 cases. And then you realize it's an exponential curve for a while. And then it turns logistic. Well, it always was logistic. So the carrying capacity, and of course we're going to be reviewing all that. So I had that. That's why the logistic differential equation thing was up on Blackboard. It still might be. I can't remember if I took that down. But that's real data, and that is one of the things on your AP exam. See, it all connects. So, but I hope you guys got lots of sleep. I hope nobody got sick. My sister did get COVID, and said it was absolutely excruciating, could not breathe, which you hear, but you don't hear it the way I heard it from my sister. She said it was like there were daggers inside of me, like I had spikes inside of me. Every time I breathed in, it was like I had to just stop. I could not breathe in. So she said she was shallow breathing, and she has never been in such pain. So if any of your family has any experience with that, my heart goes out to you, honestly. Okay, so math! Yummy math! I'm so glad to be back. I did not like the idea of getting up this morning because I couldn't just sleep forever, which I've been doing. And yet, I'm so happy to be back. I don't know if you feel the same way, but I mean in that kind of like, oh, it's nice to have some structure type of way. Not like, oh, I love to, I love pain. Okay, so I don't know if you had a chance to look at this. It's been a long time, and hopefully you dreamt about math, and you said, oh, I can't wait to do series again. But I thought I'd start with series. We did not have a test on it, and so probably it's not as stuck in your head as some other things. So if you are just coming in, or if you haven't had the opportunity to take a look at this, the hint for what to do with this is up here. So think geometric series, all the geometric series. And take a minute, I'm going to give you a little bit of time to see what you think. So grab a piece of paper. You don't need a calculator. In fact, on the exam, calculators, though, they don't care if you have one, it's just not going to help. So take a few minutes, and when you're done, when you feel ready, raise your hand. Or if you just go, I have no idea what I'm doing, and I'm going to wait. Okay, I'll just raise my hand. Either way, just take a few minutes and consider that. Okay, so if you just stared at it and said, I have corona brain. I don't know what I'm doing. That's okay. We shall unfog you. Okay. So the big hint for this, if I can get my little thingy thing going, here we go, is geometric series. Now you might look at this and say, I don't know why that's geometric, but think about the format for geometric series. So, let me see. I don't know, I've been working with this pen that's very annoying because it's really fat. I don't mean the good fat. Okay, so, you know A times N, oh my goodness, I just did that wrong. A times R to the N minus 1 is the format of this. And you're summing forever. So some people say A1. It could also be A times R to the N. The form doesn't matter as long as you have some number that is being raised to consecutively higher powers. And that's what we have. Right, so I've got A, which it's not a variable. This has to be a constant because the only variable up here is, or the only thing that's changing here is N. And then the series is 4, and I'm just looking at the coefficients, 4, 4 thirds, 4 ninths, 4 27ths. What's happening between 4 and 4 thirds and 4 ninths and 4 over 27? Isaac. I'm going to call on some of you kind of randomly just to mix it up a little bit. Please use your mic if you can, because it's faster.
Oh, so I'm supposed to see like the pattern?
Yeah, if you know the pattern. If you don't, that's fine too.
Each time it gets divided by 3, and then the parentheses portion goes up a power every single time.
Exactly. So this is, somebody has put the numbers in here. They said, okay, if N is 1, AN is 4, put a 1 in there. But they're telling you 4, 4 thirds, 4 ninths, whatever. And so that is your clue that it's in this format. So when it says find the sum when x is equal to 1, it means plug a 1 in here, and then begin to add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way up to infinity. So, oh, that was the same problem. Okay. So, what I want to do is cover this so it's not distracting. Okay. All right, so here's the story with this. If you expand it, you get the series, well, obviously you get that series. That's where they got the series from. And then they say, hey, if n is equal to 1, well, then this becomes -1, -1, -1. And what used to be something that went plus, minus is now just plus, 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 plus. Versus this one where this was your general formula for this. So you didn't know the A until you got to here. But the plus, minus went away because you are now have a -1 that is changing all those powers to positive. So if I want the sum of this, well, the sum of the geometric series is A1 over 1 minus R. So A1, which is 4 over 1 minus R. It's supposed to be infinity. And so hiding under here is exactly that. So they said find the sum, add forever. They're not trying to frustrate you, although you might be frustrated. It says add this forever. So there has to be one of two different things going on. What are the only two ones where they could say find the sum straight up and there is an answer? Do you remember what two types of series there are? You can text this in. I don't need you to shout it out. You can just text it in. If you look at the text down there. It might jog your memory to see what some people are answering. Very nice. You guys are so great. I've missed you. I really have. You know, and I can't say that about every class. So you guys are just awesome. So, Isaac, because they did their homework. That's why. I'm just saying. Okay, so yay, very nice. So telescopic series and geometric series are the two that you can actually find the sum. Everybody else, you can just say, well, me too, Gloria. Oh my gosh, you should have seen me this morning. Oh no, it's good you didn't see me this morning. It was like a frightening, it was sort of a terrifying view. Oh my gosh, what is up with this stupid thing? I've given up caring what I look like. Let me just phrase it. Okay. So let me remove that. Okay. And so because I can find the series, now here's the catch with this one. They say, now I want you to know about absolute versus conditional convergence, or is it divergent when x is equal to 4? X is equal to 4, so we're not dealing with this one anymore. We got x is equal to 4. The terms absolutely and conditionally convergent relate to what kind of series? What's the only kind of series that's either absolutely or conditionally convergent? Right. Do you guys see that? Some people have coffee. Yes, Ani has downloaded the coffee. And some of you must have shared it. A little Starbucks there. Exactly. So that's a clue that if I put in 4, well, if you think about it, if I put in a 4, I'm going to get a positive value. So that's going to make obsolete the plus minus changing to plus. So now you really do have an alternating series, right? Blah, 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 blah. If x is equal to 4. So I can look at this. And what were the conditions for alternating series? How did you know? Well, it had to be alternating, obviously. But what was it? There were 3 conditions. And if this thing met all 3 conditions, it was convergent. Ah, Gloria, she's on fire. Even if your brain is in a fog, it's in a fiery fog. So Gloria said positive decreasing fails nth term. So except for the negative, which is going back and forth because of the nature of this. Right? You guys are so cute. So this is positive if I ignore the plus minus part. It is decreasing. Now you can prove the decreasing. My guess is on the AP you will actually have to prove the decreasing because there's so little for them to go on. And they don't see you. So it's going to be a pretty harsh thing. So positive decreasing fails the nth term clearly. Also it's geometric, and so that's going to fail. Oh no, not this one, this. So that's good. The question is whether it is absolutely or conditionally convergent. Well, with this series, if you do the same thing, now this is a different series because of the x value that we're using. It goes to a different actual value, but geometric, alternating it passed. So yes, 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 alternating means it converged, and as a geometric, it also converges. So that's the absolute convergence that we were talking about. So, okay. Let's look at, I do have to talk about this. Okay, just a little housekeeping. Of course, we're wrapping up the 3rd quarter, and I've sent out a couple of different announcements, and anything that was due the week of 3/13, and particularly anything that was like late, and you could turn it in on the 13th. Most people have already taken care of that. They've already sent me whatever it was, and I put it in the grade book. The impact of the remaining work is if you have all of your assignments in, so you turned them in or you turned them in late, it doesn't matter either way as far as previously. You can't turn late stuff in now if it was due February 14th. Some people are, in one of my classes, my pre-calc classes are trying to do that. I'm like, wait, no, it doesn't work that way. But if everything is in and you do everything this week, then the test, in fact, the last 2 tests on which you could not do corrections, can get curved. So that will impact your third quarter grade. If that is not the case, do not fret, because fourth quarter, even though we're giving no mark, we are marking things that are turned in as either proficient, so you didn't just like randomly guess. You actually have an idea, a good understanding of whatever it is you're turning in. Attempted, so most of it's correct. There are a couple of errors. Or just totally not attempted. So if you attempted something, and I'm not thinking about you guys, but certain classes that I have, they're going to quote attempted, and really what they did was they just answered C for all of the multiple choices. You know, that's pretty much a not attempted. So, but assuming that you either attempted or you proficiently attempted everything that's assigned within the time frame, which is a week, you guys have a lot of time. So I don't even see you for a whole nother week. So what is assigned is not up yet. But this can impact your final grade. So regardless of third quarter, although most of you are in really good standing for third quarter, fourth quarter can raise you as much as a half a grade. So if you got a B, you can get a B+. If you got a B+, you can get an A-. You get the idea. So, and that is entirely up to me based on what have you done fourth quarter. The minute you're missing something, then I'm not going to consider it because you have tons and tons of time. In fourth quarter, we're going to be, anyway. We'll get to that. All right, the classes are working in this way. We got an email just yesterday saying we are required to take attendance for classes. And I'm not sure, some teachers are just like recording stuff and then putting it up, so I don't know how they're going to take attendance. So I actually have to be, I mean, these will be recorded, but you actually do have to be in class. So attendance in class. If you're not here, or if you check out and run around the block and eat some pizza and come back and you're clearly not here, then virtual session non-participation is what gets recorded in this. So that is just an indicator to the county that they don't know where you were, but you weren't here. And of course, we're going to be reviewing for the AP up until the 12th. I already talked about fourth quarter. So if you've got questions about that, your own questions, just see me after class, or you can shoot me a remind text. What is not tested? Oh, did I go with what was tested? I guess I didn't. Weird. Thought I had that. I must have skipped it. Weird. Okay, well, that's strange. So, what is tested? Maybe I just totally deleted that. I don't know. Let me see if I can jump back and find it. Sure I can. Yes, here it is. Okay, this is what I wanted. So what is on the exam, I've already sent this to you, and thankfully Anish from my first period says, Ms. Ribbon, you really screwed up. And I was like, why are you surprised? Seriously? Because what I had said wasn't included was exactly the stuff that was included. But Unit 10 is really cut down. We did this February, we were done with this. I don't know if you realize that. I jumped for joy when I saw what they were eliminating because we were in the middle of doing the eliminated work and had been far beyond it. So these are the things. At the end of this class, there's an exit ticket that is a survey asking you what of this is your most burning desire to go over. Because I'm going to look at what do you think that you need, and then what do I think is going to happen on the AP and try to meld those together. It's going to be a tough review because I don't know. It's a totally weird exam. 60% of your grade on the exam is the first question. 40% is the second question. The 50% is a 25-minute. The 40% is a 20-minute question. And none of the AB topics that are only AB will be on. Okay, I shouldn't say that. No questions will be shared between AB and BC. So normally there are questions that are in common between AB and BC. Of course, this year with the limited time and number, you are going to be in BC land. You know, it'll rely on the AB concepts, but it will be very dedicated to BC, just so you know. What's not on it was the stuff we were doing. So Unit 9 was the only thing that we didn't do, and we were in the midst of that. So that's not on it, and infinite series, most of what we did is not on it. So you already know geometric, harmonic, and P-series. Come on, my favorites. And then alternating series. So does it converge, does it not converge? Ratio test for convergence. That's always a good thing. And then Taylor Polynomials. And we're going to go through a couple examples of this, and I'll show you what part of the Taylor Polynomials that covers. Okay. All right, we are forging ahead. So here's what you already saw. You already just got through doing, or at least thinking through, geometric series, convergence, divergence, and how to find the sum. P-series, you'll remember, is powers that are in the bottom. If you've got an exponential function where there's a power in the denominator, if P is like 4 or 5 or 6, then those are going to converge. If P is 1/2 or whatever, 2/3 or something in between 0 and 1, that diverges. Those were really nice. And notice integral test isn't on this. It's crazy. That's the most fun. Okay, and then alternating series test, we just talked about that. And I believe the error bound is on this. I would have to check that, but of course it's not hard, because if you're going out to the 17th term and you want to know the error, just evaluate the 18th term. Done. So, not concerned about that. All right, this is what I'm going to focus on a little bit today because it's been a while. So Taylor polynomials, remember, hi, I have a weirdo function, sine, cosine, tangent, whatever, some function, a transcendental function, natural log, e to the x, something like that. And I'm going to do this crazy thing and turn it into an infinite series. I'm going to turn it into a polynomial with ascending powers and this combination of derivatives and, what are they called, factorials. And I'm going to feel extremely smart because if my calculator does it to 17, I'll do it to 18 and I'm better. I'm better than my calculator. So we're going to turn weird stuff into Taylor polynomials. Taylor meaning that the center is not at 0. McLaurin, he got credit for having centers at 0. The only difference. Okay, so let's look at one. Potentially, could be on the AP, something along these lines. Some of the ones I'm doing today are on some of the videos. I'll be recording some additional ones because I have so many of them, and those are not covered in the video. They're just really, really good questions. So, and I mean the video from College Board. All right. What I want you to do, I'm going to give you a little bit of time to read and digest. I want you to chew well. It's good to chew well. And I will be quiet and let you just meditate. Think if you can come up with a plan for this. Okay, so I gave you 2 minutes. 2 minutes is a long time. I was looking at that going, wow, a lot of time. But that's also because I already looked at this, obviously. Okay, so let's unpack what this is saying. Typical question, because you can't do a whole bunch of number crunching. You have to know the concept. So we've got f and g, values up here, and they're given in the table at x equals 3. That's your center. N is greater than 2 will be obvious when we get a little bit further along. The nth derivative is given by this rule. And that'll come up in just a second. We want the third degree Taylor polynomial for g of x at x equals 3. Okay. So, you know the method is I need to know what g of 3 is. I need g prime of 3. I need g double prime. And I need g triple prime, or double prime, as the case may be. Okay. So g of 3, I just get to look at the table. Bam, it's 4. This is part of the coefficient. Remember, the rest of the coefficient of any of these is the factorial in the bottom. That's a tricky question. It is often asked. It says, what is the coefficient of the 4th term? But you can't just look at these things. You also have to consider the denominator, which is a factorial. But I digress. All right, g prime, given, -5. Look at all that no work. Now, g double prime. So this is, I could also write this as g2, and I'm doing that on purpose because I don't have a g. All I have are f's. I don't know what the other one is, except for this fact. So I know if I want g for anything higher than 1, I can look at the f function. And I know that's the f, in this case, of 2 minus 2 of 3. Okay, well, that's weird. That's f0 of 3, it just means f of 3. It means I've taken no derivatives. And f of 3 is right there. So that part of the coefficient is 1. And then g triple prime. Okay, well that's g3 of 3, which is the same as f of 3 minus 2 of 3, which is the same as f prime of 3. I actually had to do all of that this morning because I was in the fog of my life. I was in the life fog. Okay. Those become part of the coefficients. So I start out with 4 minus 5, centers at 3, so x minus 3 to the first over 1 factorial. Not needed, either the 1 or the 1 factorial, but just pro forma. And then I've got 1 x minus 3. My hand is shaking. That's so weird. I think I must have eaten sugar. Squared. Don't you like that, like, train of thought out loud? It's kind of scary. All right, and then minus 2, x minus 3 cubed over 3 factorial. And please don't work these things out. You're on a free response. There's no need to do the arithmetic. So please don't go crazy. I love to figure these out because it bothers me to have things that are not simplified. I have overcome that bother. So this would have been 6, and this would have been 2 with a 6, which is 3. But don't even bother with that. They don't mind. They do not mind. And if you want to be all fancy, you can call this T3 of x. Okay? So give me a smiley face, confused face, throw up face, just a little bit of emotion. Just want to know if everybody's doing okay. Okay in the hay, on this fine day, in almost May. Ryan, are you doing okay? Oh, good. Okay. I must have just missed it. All right. All right. So with that maybe review in mind, I'm going to have you guys go into breakout rooms, and we've done this before. You're going to be in groups of 3, although one person, or rather one group will have 2 people, because we only have 20 people, not including me. So you're going to look for, or you're going to create a 3rd degree Taylor for sine x at pi over 6. And be aware, if they said, give me the Maclaurin series for sine x, I doubt they would, but you cannot just bust out the thing that you may have memorized. You can't just write down, oh, x minus x cubed over 3 factorial plus x to the 5th over 5 factorial. That, first of all, here is not appropriate because it's not centered at 0. Those are from Maclaurin. But secondly, even if it were, you would have to show the work. So just be aware of that. You don't want to do that. When you get to the approximation, give me all the decimals that your calculator pops out. Okay? And you can break up this work as you wish. So somebody could write the polynomial, somebody could, or rather evaluate the derivatives, polynomial, and then estimate. Whatever you want to do, just make sure your name is there, and I'll be popping in and out of rooms and seeing if you guys are doing okay. So hold on momentarily. I shall allow the breakout rooms to occur. Really great job. You were thinking through it. You were talking to each other. I love it. Such a great class. Okay, so you did phenomenally well. I'm just going to unravel this. Not really unravel. I'm just desperately trying to move some shapes. Okay, so you guys got this. And when you're on the AP, you actually want to make this explicit. So I saw some people just writing like the coefficients without showing where they came from. They're going to care about where they came from. So you can't just write like whatever, root 3 over 2 and blah, blah. You want to show exactly what you're doing. Leave nothing up to chance, because remember, if this would be just part of a question, but a question that's worth most of or almost most of your exam. All right. So you got that, and then you get the coefficients. Grab this. And then you create the polynomial. So most people got here, la 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 la, very nice job. And then you went even crazier. You put in a 0.2, and you get this long thing. So P3 third degree polynomial of 0.2 was like 0.19, blah, blah, blah. You said lots of blah. I did not write it all down, but I'm missing that last part. But you would go as many decimals as your calculator admits of. So nice job. Hopefully that refreshed your memory. It's just a little tiny bit, but it has been a long time. And just one other reminder, you do realize what this means. So you don't want to forget, what the heck are we doing? Well, we just made a polynomial out of something that is not a polynomial. Sine is not a polynomial. We said, heck with you. We want weird values. I'm going to turn it into a polynomial. We only did a third degree polynomial. So that's what this is. The radius of convergence, in this case, this looks like a Maclaurin polynomial. I don't think it's located at, oh, it might be centered at pi over 6. I don't recall whether this is or not. But you can see that the interval of convergence is just from about here to here. And if you were asked to find the interval of convergence, you guys can do that. Use the ratio test for that, and eventually we'll get into that. Okay? So, all right, so just a tiny bit of emotion. Actually, I think I might be missing some texting. Maybe not. Okay. Because Shreya and Rachel, your little text boxing thing is lit up, so I don't know if that's because you were asking a question. Oh, okay. All right. So just need a little bit of emotion that you're good, that you're like, your brain has started to come back to life. It's funny, I have a car that I haven't driven in so long that the battery was completely dead. Like, lady, you are socially distancing way too. I socially distance from my poor car, and totally unrelated, but fun to say. Okay, I am happy for the happiness. On this page, if I can make it come up or not. So the next page, oh, I don't know where it went. Ah! Corona kitty! Look at her! I made this. Isn't that fun? Little Corona kitty. She's all masked. She said, stay safe, which is true. Okay, this is a form for me, and I think I said this already. It's just, check 3 things that you really, really, really need to be refreshed on. So this form, it's an exit ticket, so I'll know who's here, and, although I have other ways to know that. And then this, in the event that you did not get this, the AP Classroom Live, the recorded reviews, live and recorded, can be found here. And I believe this is also on Blackboard, and I believe I also sent it to Remind, but I'll just double check that. So if you're ready to go, you can click your head off. Well, don't click your head off. Keep your head and then click the link. And then just fill that out. And you can go play, and I will see you in a week. I will be uploading, I'll be uploading stuff for you to do, and it'll grow with time as I figure out what would be the best way to go. I'm in contact with some people about, hey, how in the world do we review this with so little time? So beans are cool, Isaac. I agree. Cool beans. I don't know who came up with that, but it's very cute. Okay, so click away, and I shall see you. What's the difference between contextual and analytical? Okay, so contextual, I believe, And or actually I could leave this recording. Contextual to my knowledge, and I'd have to look it up again, but do you remember the Hughes Hallett stuff where we said, hey, here is P of X. If I said P prime of 2 equals 5, what does that mean? And you would say, oh, the amount of corn is changing at the rate of blah, blah, blah ears per year, or something like that. It could also include, what is it called? Probably velocity, acceleration. So putting the derivatives in context, what do they mean? And analytical would lead into that too, as far as the velocity and acceleration. Also being able to find derivatives of doing implicit differentiation, or what else? Like derivatives of inverses, things like that. So, but if you look in College Board, they have a whole bunch of, like the sections are all broken down, and then you can actually look at what the questions would be for those. Bye, Amy. No problem. You're welcome, Brayden. You're welcome, honey. Bye, Cortez. Christian, you're so cute. You're welcome. Bye, Connor. You're welcome, Gloria. Bye, Ollie. You're welcome. Bye, Bonnie. Hi, Rachel. Remember, Corona Kitty says be safe.